This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday the 24th day of December in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. President David Granger and opposition leader Barra Jagdeo will meet in early January to discuss the passage of the no-confidence motion against the government and the setting of a date for national and regional elections. The Constitution prescribes that the government has to call elections within 3 months or at a date agreed to by 2/3 of the National Assembly, once a no-confidence motion would have been passed. Elections could be held as early as March. President Granger will be leaving Guyana on Christmas Day for Cuba, where he's undergoing chemotherapy treatment. At a press conference today, opposition leader Barra Jagdeo said the meeting will take place on the president's return. He said he's also told his party members that now is not the time to be boastful about the passage of the no-confidence motion.
We in the National Assembly, in the wrap-up after the no-confidence motion, I indicated that there is no room for triumphalist behavior here, nor despair. That we must all view this as the growth, the maturing of our democracy, because we use the provision that has been in the Constitution for decades.
According to Mr. Jagdeo, his party utilized a provision in the Constitution for the passage of the no-confidence motion and managed to get the support of government member Charan Das Prasad.
We all have to abide by the results of that process. But we can make this an opportunity for all Guyana, or we can address it in the traditional manner, where we are at each other's throats over every issue, and I prefer the first of the two.
Mr. Jagdeo said his party will begin preparations for the election soon, and that process is set to begin this Thursday, when the party will begin the official process to choose a presidential candidate. More news coming up in just a moment.
This Boxing Night, December 26th. Come be a part of the experience. Egypt. Come have fun as we transform Palm Court into one of the 8th wonders of the world. Egypt. Come out and party Egyptian style. This is another destination party by Hits and Jams Entertainment. Boxing Night Egypt. Here we go. Music by our signature DJs from Fusion and Boom FM. Tickets $2,000. More at the door. This Boxing Night, December 26th. Egypt. As we transform Palm Court into one of the 8th wonders of the world. Egypt.
This Christmas, get a loan for your dream car with an extended repayment term. Spruce up your home with that renovation you always wanted and take advantage of low or no down payment. Get new appliances so you can cook up a storm. You'll get same-day approval. Plus, you can win a getaway to a destination of your choice. Visit RepublicGuyana.com today to find out how.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back. Prominent attorney-at-law Nigel Hughes, who once served as the chairman of the Alliance for Change, is standing by his position that there was no majority passage of the no-confidence motion when one considers the makeup of the National Assembly and what would constitute a majority. Mr. Hughes' contention is that the Constitution speaks of a majority for the no-confidence motion to be carried, but with 65 members, 33 does not really represent a majority. According to the attorney, half of 65 would be 32 and a half. But because there could be no such thing as a half member, in his opinion it is moved to the closest number, which is 33 as the half. He said 34 votes would then be needed, in his view, for the motion to be carried by a majority.
it says a majority of all of the elected members of the House. How is that calculated? There are 65 elected members of the House, so you first have to decide what is half of the House. Half of 65 is 32.5. So what would be half of the House? You don't have 0.5 of a person or half of a person, so half of the House is 33 votes. So to be defeated on a vote of confidence, whoever it is that brings the motion has to acquire 34 votes. Now, simple example, this is different from other legislation which may allow the passage of a bill based on a vote of those present. Here, like amending the fundamental right of the Constitution, what is required is a majority of the elected members of the House. So if, let's say, 40 people turned up and you only had 28 votes in favor and the rest against, that would not be a vote of the majority of the elected members of the House, because the number of elected members of the House is 65, half of that is 32.5, therefore half would in effect mean 33 members. So you have to have more than half for a vote of confidence, or no confidence as it's popularly called, to pass. Therefore, in these circumstances, certainly from what I saw on television, the vote of 34 members was not acquired for the motion to pass.
The opinion of the attorney has triggered off massive debate within the legal halls and on social media, with his initial post pulling in hundreds of comments and shares on Facebook. At the morning press conference, Mr. Hughes said he is not budging from his position and he believes precedents exist.
The more important one is the one of Kilman against the Speaker of the House for the state of Vanuatu, and that was an identical case to this, where there was a vote of no confidence, and in effect it was half plus one. That is the calculation, half plus one for you to get a majority. Half is 33, the plus one is 34. Identical facts, and that's what the court held. In the case that was closer to home in Anguilla, there was a question of interpreting what exactly constituted a quorum. The quorum was 1/3, I believe, and mathematically it came up to a part of a person, and Justice Saunders, who just happens to be the present head of the Caribbean Court of Justice, sitting in first instance in that case, constitutional crisis ruled that you have to round it up to the next number, not round it down.
The attorney was clear to point out that he is simply offering his opinion on the matter. He said it will be up to the government, the opposition, and the parliament whether they want to take another look at the matter. He said when the National Assembly reconvenes, the government could ask the Speaker to review the matter, and the Speaker could then turn to legal minds from within and out of Guyana. Meanwhile, former Attorney General and Opposition Member of Parliament Anil Nandlal said he does not buy the Hughes argument. He said when he was Attorney General, a similar opinion was offered to him when the PPP government found itself in the minority by 1 seat and was facing a possible no-confidence motion. Mr. Nandlal said the Speaker has already ruled that the motion was carried, and both the President and Prime Minister have publicly indicated that the motion was carried and the government has fallen, and that they will abide by the constitutional prescription which flows therefrom. However, Attorney Nigel Hughes said that acceptance does not mean an ordinary citizen could not approach the court for it to offer an interpretation in the matter, or for the government to seek a revisit of the motion. The U.S. State Department is calling on Venezuela to respect the sovereign rights of its neighbors. The call came yesterday from the deputy spokesman at the U.S. State Department following the Venezuelan Navy's interception of an Exxon-contracted research vessel in Guyana's waters. The U.S. State Department spokesman said the U.S. government is monitoring the development, and it must be made clear that Guyana has the sovereign right to explore and exploit resources in its territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. The research vessel was in Guyana's waters doing work for the ExxonMobil Oil Company on Saturday morning when its work was intercepted by the Venezuelan Navy. Guyana is moving to file an official complaint with the United Nations about the latest provocative act by the Venezuelan government. Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs rejects this illegal, aggressive, and hostile act perpetrated by the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which once again demonstrates the real threat to Guyana's economic development by its western neighbor, an act that violates the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be bringing this latest act of illegality and blatant disrespect for Guyana's sovereignty by Venezuela to the attention of the United Nations.
Guyana has also moved to inform a number of its close allies about the issue. Exxon is currently continuing oil exploration work in Guyana's waters. The company has discovered more than 5 billion barrels of oil already. Mr. Nandlal said the Speaker has already ruled that a motion was carried, and both the President and Prime Minister have publicly indicated that the motion was carried and the government has fallen, and that they will abide by the constitutional prescription which flows therefrom. However, Attorney Nigel Yu said that acceptance does not mean an ordinary citizen could not approach the court for it to offer an interpretation in the matter or for the government to seek a revisit of the motion. And finally tonight, with the Alliance for Change moving to officially recall Charandas Prasad from the parliament after expelling him from the party, it has found itself with no replacement options, and that leaves its coalition partner, the APNU, with the job to find a replacement. Prasad was a parliamentary representative from the Region 6 area. The only other AFC member who was on the list of candidates for that area was Dr. Veersamy Ramaya. He resigned from the AFC 3 years ago. Sources within the AFC have told News Source that the party now has no choice but to allow the APNU to select one of its candidates from the Region 6 list to become the new member of parliament for the area. The APNU is expected to make that decision in time for the January sitting of the Assembly. The AFC announced Prasad's expulsion on Saturday following his decision to vote with the PPP in moving the no-confidence motion against the same government that took him to the National Assembly. The AFC in its statement said it was shocked by the move by its member of parliament in the coalition, but News Source understands that the party was made aware of the possibility of one of its members flipping, and Prasad was confronted but denied that it would be him. The passage of the no-confidence motion forces the government to call elections within 3 months, or at the time that is put forward by 2/3 of the National Assembly. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and wishing you and your family a very happy Christmas.